Alright y'all, here's the tools that's going to be needed to do the polishing and complete the spring job on this CZ-P07. You're going to need a screwdriver set, something with small screwdrivers, and that'll give you the ability to be able to pry so that you can take out the takedown bar. You're going to need a bench block so that you'll have a place to lay the gun on to drive out pins and to push in pins. Some heavy duty grease. Going to need some hemostats or a pair of needle nose pliers. A rotary tool. A trigger gauge is good to have. You don't have to have it, but it'll help you and show you the progress that you've made. A polishing kit is something that's very, very important. You have to have good polish and the tools to do it. In Carbo is who we got this one from. I think it was 12 bucks. It comes with a can of Fitz polishing cream. Comes with the ends to put in your rotary tool, the polishing bullets, and even nitrile gloves and a microfiber towel. You're also going to need a set of small punches. I recommend ones that go all the way down to 1/16 of an inch. That's all the tools you're going to need to do this job. Just take your time. There's 150 videos out there showing how to take a CZ-P07 down. I'm not going to bore you all with watching me take this gun apart. I'll get it all took apart, have all the parts laid out here, explain to you what the parts are, and then I'll show you what to polish and let you guys get on with your day. Alright y'all, we've got the CZ-07 completely took apart pretty much, and I just want to go over with you the parts internally that we took off. This is your trigger pin, your trigger return spring, your trigger bar. These two components are either your decocking lever or your safety lever, depending upon what you chose to use. This is the spring that actuates that, the ejector, the firing pin block, the trigger bar disconnector, sear pin, the hammer, the hammer bar, the hammer pin, the hammer or mainspring, the mainspring or hammer plug, and the mainspring or hammer pin. Now, these parts are not as bad as it seems, okay? It's pretty simple operation. It's just a matter of making sure you put the pins in the right orientation, put them through the right way, because they have, like on the hammer pin, I try to show this to you. If you'll notice, the groove in that hammer pin is off to one side farther than it is the other. And then you have some, say like the pin here that holds the mainspring, it's got a groove, but it's right in the middle. And what that is all these pins go in very easily, just push in, but they lock together with spring tension as one of the parts that's going to be on that pin sets in that notch to lock that pin into place. So you have to be real careful about getting them oriented right. Now the only parts that we're going to worry about, we're going to take the trigger bar off of the trigger. We're going to polish the trigger bar, particularly on this side and in this area right here. Okay, I can feel a lot of sharp edges on it. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty neat. We're gonna polish this down to where it's very, 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 very bright chrome, just no finish left on it. You don't have to worry about it rusting, to get oil and all that. All right, now we're gonna do a little bit on the sear. The sear on this gun doesn't seem to be real bad, but we're going to polish it just a little bit right on that edge right there. Alright, then on the hammer we're going to, yeah, mine's got a, it's got a little bit of machining on it. Not a lot, not real bad, but we're going to do that on that surface right there. Okay. And then on the firing pin block stop is the trigger bar disconnector. That's this little round piece right here. We're going to polish it a little bit. And that's basically the only thing you have to worry about. After that, then you're in good shape. You just put it all back together, oil everything up well, and put a little dab of grease here and there, and you're going to reduce your trigger pull, and the feel of your trigger is going to be so much better. So I'll get to polishing these. When I get set up with my polish, I'll show you what you got to do, and we'll try to limit the video as much as I can. Alright y'all, we're about to get started with our polishing here. Now like I said, this kit comes with a pretty good size, this little can here of Flitz metal gun polish. Now this stuff is non-abrasive. It's not made to take away material, okay? It's just made to shine up and smooth the surface that you're going to be using it on, so that way you don't have to worry about taking off too much material. Now I'm going to use a Dremel, or a Dremel-like. It's just a little hand rotary tool with these little like cotton fiber tips. 3 of them come in the kit, and what you'll do is I like to spin it as slow as possible, because that way you ain't slinging stuff all over the place. You know, if yours is adjustable, that's great. If it's not, then just be careful, okay? But what we'll do is we're going to start off with our trigger bar. I'm going to polish the outside of this real well. I'm really going to pay attention to this rounded little knob right there, so that we get that real good. And we're going to clean up the back of this thing really nice, so that any contact areas will be polished good, and that'll really help us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get a little bit of this stuff here. I'm going to put it right on the little bullet shaped deal there. And I'm also going to get a little bit on my glove here. These nitrile gloves come in super handy because it'll cut back way down on the mess. Now this stuff's going to fling around, so my advice is don't have it near anything that you care about getting stuff on, because it'll get on everything if you ain't careful. Alright y'all, we've got our parts all polished up, and let you take a look at the trigger. You see how nice and shiny that is right there on that surface. And then I'm going to show you the trigger bar disconnector. Okay, and I want to show you trigger bar. That area right there is the one that's most important, and this outside actually rubs on the side of the polymer frame when you're pulling the trigger. And then this surface of the sear. Now on the sear, you got to be real careful. Do not over polish the sear or the notch on the hammer, because if you do, you'll cause your gun to have push off, or maybe even the first time you pull the trigger it runs off, which I mean it will shoot till there's nothing left. The only part we're going to replace in this is I'm going to replace the sear spring, which is this little bitty fella right here, right there, because I replaced all the other springs in the slide already, and we do have a new trigger return spring, but you saw in a previous video how we put this in. Again, there's 200 videos on the internet taking these guns apart, putting them back together. Not going to bore you with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead off camera, put this thing back together. That way the video will be nice and short, and then we're going to use your trigger pull gauge and see what kind of improvement we had on this thing. Before we done this, the single action pull was about 5 pounds, and the double action maxed out my 8.5 pound meter. So I'm going to say it was 10 pounds plus. So we'll see how that come out. But I'll get it put back together. Be right back. Alright guys, we're back. We got all of the lower reassembled. And got the areas polished that we wanted. Now what my expectations out of this was, I wasn't so much worried about the trigger pull on double action, because double action is what it is. You got to have enough force on your hammer to make the firing pin hit the primer hard enough to make it go off, so you can't reduce that a lot. But now what I was wanting to change is the feel and the weight of the trigger on single action. And guys, it made a huge difference. Let's put the slide on and get our pin in. On it. Alright, double action. Now, let's put gauge on it just for pity's sake, because I'm pretty sure it's still going to max out this 8.5 pound gauge on double action, but we'll see. £8.5 pounds. Right on 8.5 pounds. Let's do one more to confirm it. £8.5 pounds. It did not max the gauge out. So it was coming to right there. I don't know if you guys will be able to read those numbers very well, but it could still have went farther. It did not max it out. Before, it was just dead maxing it out. So now let's try single action. Three and a quarter pounds. Let's try that again. £3.5 pounds. Guys, that's a really nice single action trigger. That's really nice. I like that. It's not stagey. It's not gritty now. It's real smooth. It's exactly what we wanted. You know, I mean, it done what my M-Carbo says their kits will do. And when we put the new ladder springs in, we put in a new trigger or mainspring. We put in a new trigger return spring. We put in a new sear spring. We did not change the spring that goes on the decocking or safety lever, because there wasn't really a need to. But the other springs, all the other springs in it, we did change. We also changed the firing pin spring and the firing pin block spring. Guys, it made a world of difference in this little gun and the way it feels. And I love that trigger. It's not stagey. It gets to a wall and it falls off. But guys, I really like the way this turned out. It's got a great feeling trigger. Hope you liked this video. Catch you in the next one. Hey y'all, if you don't mind, click subscribe, and if you like the video, and click the like button. And we appreciate every one of y'all, and hope to see you in the next video. It's the Fat Man. I'm gone.